August 2nd is a very important day for us. On this day, we remember the murder of almost 500,000 Sinti and Roma in Germany and in all of Europe during National Socialism. This date in particular refers to the almost 5,000 of our people being killed in the night from the 2nd of August to the 3rd of August. So given this historical context, I think my motivation to participate on this day is twofold. First of all, I would say that the let alone historical part of it is reason enough. I think it's very important not to forget this historical stuff.
Welcome to the Amaro Voice podcast. Amaro is from the Romani language and means our Roma, Sinti and Roma voices among Europe. My name is Philipp. I'm journalist and Roma activist from Germany. Today we will have a special audio version interview episode live from the Commemoration Day in Auschwitz for the 2nd of August. Can you introduce yourself and the Student Association of Sinti and Roma in Germany?
Hello, my name is Philipp Reinhardt. I'm 20 years old and I'm currently a bachelor student in mathematics. I'm a German Sinto and I'm also part of a couple of educational programs and civil rights movements for Sinti and Roma here in Germany, one of which is the Student Association of Sinti and Roma in Germany, which I'm going to talk about today. So this association was founded in 2020 and its goals are fairly widespread, but they roughly are about this period of life from maybe the end of high school up until professional life, where we try to support people from our group in their studies. This starts already in, as I said, the end of high school, where we supply them with help for maybe what major to choose, which university to choose, but also things like the formalities, the documents which they need to sign, the maybe scholarships even, or financial help, which can often be very difficult to get in Germany due to the complex paperwork. Then during the studies, we provide them just as a helping hand, maybe for problems that can arise during the studies. Also like special problems which are about the racism that is still prevalent in the academic landscape, but also more general problems. And then afterwards, we try to provide them with an alumni network. And to just give them a strong network, which a lot of these people or our group in particular does not have as strongly as other groups do, because historically speaking, we have been excluded from a lot of educational programs and thereby lack this academic network that a lot of people have, maybe already starting with their parents who have an academic background, which is sometimes lacking for us. And this is what we're trying to provide, and this is what we're trying to do.
If you want to support us, you can like this video and give us a comment. And to not miss our episodes, you can subscribe our YouTube channel. If you are watching or listening right now on Spotify or listen on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, you can follow our podcast. To get all informations from us, go and follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Amaro Voice. What is your motivation for participating in the Commemoration Day on 2nd of August for Sinti and Roma in Auschwitz?
August 2nd is a very important day for us. On this day, we remember the murder of almost 500,000 Sinti and Roma in Germany and in all of Europe during National Socialism. This date in particular refers to the almost 5,000 of our people being killed in the night from the 2nd of August to the 3rd of August. So given this historical context, I think my motivation to participate on this day is twofold. First of all, I would say that the let alone historical part of it is reason enough. I think it's very important not to forget this historical stuff, and it's very important to put things in perspective today. So it's impossible to understand power structures and social differences as they are today without the historical context. So this is the one part of it. The other part is much more activist-like, and it focuses more on the present, which is that these days really strengthen the democracy. And these days are really also about the present circumstances and how stuff is going right now, which is, as we see, not very well. For example, in America, also in all of Europe, where right-wing parties are again on a rise, it's important to keep these days as not only historical lessons, but also as um, activistic events.
Why is it important to commemorate the genocide of Sinti and Roma in Auschwitz? And why is it important to educate people about the genocide of Sinti and Roma?
So I think it's very important to educate people about the genocide done to Sinti and Roma. And actually, I remember still when I was a child, still in school, how hard it struck me that in my history lesson, the fact that a lot of my ancestors have been murdered during this time has not even been mentioned once. Even though the very city that I lived in, almost 50 people have been deported from the city. So even on a local scale, this should be important, but it just wasn't. It wasn't part of the curriculum. And for me, I mean, as a member of this group, it really struck me. But also, just in a broader societal context, this is an integral part of the history of the Germans, quote unquote, and of the history of this country. So, just in this broader context, it's also very important to be remembered. And it's often striking to me how small the general knowledge is about this topic, and how little people actually know about this group and know about these crimes that have been done by the same country that they are citizen of. So it's very important to educate people about this. And matter of factly, this is one of the things that I do also in the Bildungsbotschafter program, which I'm going to talk about later, because I think it is, as I said earlier, integral to understanding how social differences are today and how the power structures are today. Because without this historical context, one is prone to misunderstand situations as they are today, and thereby make false judgments, or even develop like racist attitudes towards people. And so I think the first step in being more open and being more democratic is actually this historic knowledge. And you can't be very democratic and very open towards other people if you actually know nothing about them, or if you, which is even worse, know wrong things about them. So yeah, this is why I think it's very important.
Could you also tell us how you are involved in educational work through the Bildungsbotschafter program and the Student Association of Sinti and Roma in Germany?
So the Bildungsbotschafter program is done by the Student Association of Sinti and Roma in Germany, which I already presented. And it has been part of this association for now over 4 years. And there have been already multiple generations of these ambassadors, so Botschafter in German, trained. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this now. So the idea behind this program is basically that people from our group, so Sinti or Roma, present these topics and lecture about these topics themselves, rather than, as it has been done in the past, other people talking about us, thereby often reproducing stereotypes and working pseudoscientifically, rather taking it from the source, taking the knowledge from the source and distributing the knowledge from the source. So the program basically has 2 steps. The first step is the training part, where the new ambassadors, so the new Botschafter, get lectures from past Botschafter, like from past generations that have already been trained, or from professionals, from professors of these subjects, and from, yes, people who have been in this for already a long time. And the idea is to get like very high quality content, very diverse content from a lot of different topics, like, for example, from the National Socialism period, from the very early historical period, from the historical period afterwards, maybe from a more socialist perspective, maybe from a more art historic perspective. So it's very broad in nature. And then the second step of this program is to distribute this knowledge. And in this step, we organize lectures with universities, schools, or like other events where our Bildungsbotschafter can present their lecture, which they have in the first step built. They get to present this lecture, and they get to be the person that talks about themselves, and they get to be the person that gets to answer the questions from the audience. And now this is really empowering for us, because recently this has been done by other people, and oftentimes it was even this very weird, awkward situation where you would be sitting in the audience of a person sort of lecturing about you, and oftentimes reproducing stereotypes, which was like catastrophic. So this is what we're trying to end with this. Also, this is recognizable for credits in some majors, which is also very cool. So yes, this program, I think it's a very big part of what we're doing at the Student Association.
Is there something important what you would like to share with us?
Anytime you consume a source, in particular a source about minorities or underrepresented groups, always be aware of who it is that is producing knowledge right now, right? So who is it that is delivering this information? Is this person even in the position to speak about this topic? For example, for us, it has been sort of a tradition in the pseudosciences in the last couple hundreds of years that other people are trying to pseudoscientifically put tags on us to define us. And this has always been done from the outside, right? And this is clearly not a position in which they are, in which they should talk about us, right? It's more us that should talk about ourselves. So I highly encourage you to be aware of this and to be very conscious of this, because for me personally, I found that this has made me a lot more critical, and has really helped me being sensible to these small, like, racist things and to these structures even. And yes, I think this is what I would like to share with you.
Thanks for listening this special audio version interview. Ciao and devlesa. This podcast is funded by the Stiftung Erinnerung, Verantwortung und Zukunft e.V.Z. As part of the project Amaro Voice, digitale Bildungsarbeit über die Communities der europäischen Sinti und Roma bei der NGO Medien- und Kulturzentrum Deutscher Roma e.V.